Hello everyone, time for another deck profile, and this time another Shadow Paladin deck because I just love Shadow Paladins, and this time it's on the Raging Form Dragon deck. Yes, I know it's been a year since we got actual Avenger support, but then it's been a few months for Premium Collection support, and then we got Phantom Dragon Aeon, which we didn't get anything for Revengers, but I waited that out just in case, so let's get started. So what's the main playstyle of this deck? Rushing with Raging Form Dragon. That's all it is. There's going to be no force markers in this deck, so none of that, don't worry about it. But no more wasting time, and let's begin with the main deck. And of course, we start off with the front card, the 4 copies of Raging Form Dragon. So, its main skill is Limit Break 4, meaning you have 4 or more damage. After this card attacks, you can retire 3 of your Revenger rearguards, superior write a copy of him from your hand as stand, and that unit gets plus 10k power. So basically it's a double Vanguard attack. Of course, that is decent, pretty strong even back in the day, but when I said rush, you're going to be able to do this multiple times in a turn. I'm just going to tell you that right now, which I will talk about later with a specific card. And its second skill, if this card attacks a Vanguard, Counterblast 1 plus 3k. You're not going to use that often, but considering that we have 13k base Vanguards, that actually might be kind of helpful. But not really going to be needing that, because you could boost it with a 7k rearguard and it will become 18k anyway, so in many cases you're not going to need it. Next, for consistency purposes, Slay Hex Dragon. So basically, what this card does is, Counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand. When this card is placed on Vanguard, you can pay the cost. Superior ride 1 Raging Form Dragon from your deck as stand, and then put this card from your soul to hand. So basically, if for some reason you can't ride Raging Form Dragon, what you do is you ride this card, you pay its cost to superior ride the Raging Form Dragon, and then you put this card back to your hand, which will in turn give you another Revenger unit to call, or Stride Fodder. So that's just there for that consistency. You want to make sure you have Raging Form Dragon as your main Vanguard and nothing else. And then for my last grade 3, because you're going to need a lot more grade 3s than you think, and this is entirely up to you, I run Drag Ruler Phantom. You can go Phantom Blaster Abyss if you want to go full competitive with the deck, but if you're going more on the budget, I would suggest Drag Ruler Phantom, because it's not like you're really going to be using any other Vanguards other than Raging Form Dragon, but its skill can be kind of helpful sometimes. Counterblast 1 as a Limit Break 4. Retire 2 Revengers plus 10k, and then deal 1 damage to your opponent if they have less than 5 damage. It's a cross ride of Mordred Phantom, so it can become a 13k base, but standard is 13k base anyway for Force Clans, so not like that's going to matter. But this is here because I'm playing this on a budget, and also I do not want to rely on Blaster Dark Abyss with Phantom Blaster Abyss, especially when that card can only be used once. And you have to rely on rewriting just to get it off again. Yes, I do understand it's pretty powerful for its restand, and it's an alternative backup to Raging Form, but I'm running the original Blaster Dark Revenger because there's actually specific combo cards and new cards that could work well with some other cards. Let's just put it that way for now, but let's just continue off. So let's continue off with the grade 2s. I run 3 Blaster Dark Revengers. Like I said, if you run Phantom Blaster Abyss, run it with Blaster Dark Revenger Abyss instead of running this. But skill is Counterblast 2 on place. Retire 1 of your opponent's front row rear guards if you have a Revenger Vanguard. So yes, it is kind of heavy, but there's a specific card to make this cheaper. So it's just there for that reason. And also, I must have Blaster Dark in my deck, no matter what. And then here's the main big card to talk about. Dark Bless Angel. So, when this card is retired by a card ability, you can Counterblast 1, superior call a grade 1 or less Revenger from your deck. And then at the end of the turn, retire that unit. So basically, Raging Form Dragon retires 3 rearguards in battle. Just keep that in mind. It retires 3 rearguards in battle. So after Raging Form Dragon attacks, you're going to be retiring 3 of your rearguards and superior ride from your hand, and you'll be left with 2 rearguards. But if this is on the field and you retire this, you can use the skill to call another one, which will give you 3 rear guards again. So then you can superior ride another copy of Raging Form Dragon right after. So that's the Raging Form Rush, essentially. This is the main card that helps with Raging Form Rush. So of course you must run 4 copies. And it's also a target for your other retire effects in some cases because you do get a +1 for the turn. So that's also really good. And then for my last grade 2, Lilly Revenger Mana, the original one. So it's when on place, superior call grade 1 from your deck and retire at the end of the turn. So basically it's a free +1. It's another Revenger call. That's the only main reason why you run this card. And unlike Dark Blast Angel, this costs no counterblast. So not too difficult. Alright, so that's my grade 2 lineup. Now for my grade 1 lineup, this is one of the main reasons why I run Blaster Dark Revenger, because I'm going to be using the original Dorant to combo off with a few cards. So basically, when Blaster Dark Revenger is placed on the same columns as this unit, you can countercharge 1. So basically, you call Blaster Dark, you can do whichever skill you want to do first. You can counterblast 2 to kill something, and this will countercharge 1, or you can countercharge 1 to retire, and then the counterblast 2, or you could just do 1 countercharge. Entirely up to you. But I also run this card because of the next card, the new Claudius. So the new Claudius, what it does is that at the end of the turn, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard, you can counterblast 1, put this to soul, and draw a card. And if you have Dorant, you can countercharge 1. So that's the main reason why I'm playing the original Blaster Dark Revenger with this card, and along with the new Claudius, because the new Dorant is decent, but I don't have the grade 2 space. But I do have grade 1 space. There's not too many grade 1s for Revengers. So that's why I'm running this, and at the same time running the original Blaster Dark Revenger, because you don't want to make this card completely useless. And also for budget reasons as well. And also the draw 1 card is pretty helpful sometimes, and this is still a Revenger unit, even remade as standard, so that's also really good. And then next, Limit Break Enablers, just in case you have less than 4 damage. This helps activate your Limit Break. And then I run the 2 Marn. So basically, on place, you can counterblast 1 card with Revenger in its card name, and search your deck for 1 copy of the same card name as your Vanguard. And in this case, Raging Form Dragon, because you need a copy of him to your hand. And in many cases, what you would do is, you would use Raging Form Dragon to retire your Dark Bless Angel, which will of course give you another call, which you will call this. And now you have 3 rear guards again, and to guarantee your Raging Form Superior Ride, you use this card skill to get your Raging Form Dragon. So that's the purpose of running this card. But of course, you're not going to need 4 copies because there's other ways to get Raging Form Dragons beforehand. This card can become useless at many occasions. And finally, Affy. So its skill is, it's an axe skill. You can rest this card, look at top 5 cards of your deck, search for a Raging Form Dragon, and add it to your hand. If you can search anything, plus 2k to one of your units, which is actually quite helpful sometimes. The Raging Form Dragon searching is nice. Essentially, it's your grade 3 searcher. So that's pretty good. So that's my grade 1 lineup. My starter is Conrad. Basically, you can put this to soul, discard a card. That is a normal unit. And then you look at top card of your deck, put a top or bottom, and then draw a card. Revengers don't really have good starters, especially when the only really good starter is Judge Bow, but this is not a Phantom deck, and Judge Bow's for Phantom, so unfortunate. So that's, of course, the normal units. To the trigger units, the 4 Stride Fodder crits, because Stride Fodder. And then the next one is totally up to you, but I'm choosing Grim Revenger, the new one. The main reason is, it's a Revenger unit that is a crit. And Raging Form Dragon requires you to retire Revenger units, so this is just an extra Revenger unit just in case. And then I put the 4 draw PGs, and then the 4 heals. Like I said, you can run Revenger stuff if you want, but the extra power is very helpful, so I'd rather have the extra power. And now for the G units, I run Raging Rap Dragon. I'm going to tell you this right now, you're mostly not going to strike this card at all, because the cost is very heavy. So what it does is Limit Break 4, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, at the end of the battle that this card attacks, you can pay the costs. Discard 2 Grade 3 Abyss Dragons. Yeah, that's essentially your stride fodders right there. Put this back to the G zone and Superior Stride 1 copy of itself face down from your G zone. It's basically like Raging Form Dragon's playstyle of getting another copy of itself, but in this case you're striding another copy of itself. The only problem with this card is the heavy costs. And of course there's also the drive -1, which of course is twin drive each time. If you are able to pull this off multiple times in one turn, that will be amazing. It's the fact that it's not really consistent because the discard 2 Grade 3 Abyss Dragons is the main problem. So you're not going to be using this quite often, but you will use this probably at least once because you are going to be able to pull it off one with the 10 Grade 3s. And maybe the second time in the second turn you stride it, but you're not going to really use this too often. Next, Drag Ruler Revenant. It's a simple skill. Once per turn, it's a knack. Retire one of your rear guard, Spirit Call Grade 1, and that unit gets plus 3k. That's all it does. It's just deck filtering. Most of the time, I call Claudius when I have the Dorn on the field because Claudius will become 11k, and of course, Claudius can use the skill at the end of the turn to draw you another card. And sometimes I would call the Mar just to get the Raging Form Dragon for my next turn. So you have options. And then here's the better option than Raging Rap Dragon. Chain Ranker Dragon, because Chain Ranker Dragon copies the skill of the hard card. And also, it's Generation Break 3 when you have 3 Grade 1s or less on the field. Your opponent must guard with at least 3 cards from their hand. So of course this is obviously the better option. Not only that you get the Raging Form Dragon skill, which is essentially what Raging Rap Dragon does anyway, it'll be less costly overall. So Chain Ranker is probably the better card to stride into, especially when you can still do the triple attack Vanguard with everything. The only problem is that you're not going to probably get the Generation Break 3 skill, but it's still much better. So I'd rather go to Chain Ranker than Raging Rap. And then for the last of the strides, I run the Phantom Blaster Diablo for generic purposes. We got Drag Abyss Luard for more generic purposes. And then I run the Progenitor Dragon because you're going to need to conserve hand as much as you can. And of course the Grade 3s as well, so you might just. And then for the last of the G units, for the G Guardians, Dark Veil Dragon. You are going to get some souls with the Superior Ride, so you will have some soul. You could still run 1, and in turn just run the 3 plot makers instead of 2 how I'm running it right now. So that's it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is my Raging Form Dragon. Yes, I know Phantom Dragon Aeon didn't really have any support, and it's been a while since we got any Avenger support. But we did get Chain Ranker Dragon from Premium Collection, so that was good. I was still hoping for a Raging Form Stride bonus card, which we never got, so that's unfortunate. But overall, this is pretty much made as a fun deck, so don't play this as a competitive deck. You do have other options you can really play. Like I said, you can run Drag Ruler or Phantom Blaster Abyss if you want. Everyone has their personal preferences, and I have mine, so other than that, have a nice day, and I hope you guys enjoy it.